Afternoon, Speed Gaming 6, all the way on the number 6 channel. We have another Link to the Past Randomizer League match. Today we have NewSwagaJackson versus the Immortals, Walter versus Roach. My name is Tracy M. I'll be taking you through this. And this is the new fad keys. And somebody just did it, did the nice command in the chat. Which basically means it's all dungeons key sandy, except in order to stop the craziness of the Castle Tower small key hunt, which could normally be in any of 215 out of 216 locations. Those are going to be vanilla. We have seen, though, that doesn't always help us very much. There's a race going on right now where the big key to Mire was really hard to find, and the bomb was to get into Mire was really hard to find. So, and one last night, we're a similar situation with Turtle Rock. And we're off. And we start with just a map. And it's a Skull Woods map, so they'll be able to check and see whether that's a pendant or a crystal. Although we might not get as many map checks in this mode, because in all dungeons we don't care about those as much, mainly because we're gonna have to do all the dungeons anyway. So really, the red crystals are interesting, the green pendants interesting, the pendants in general. Normally you don't want to see ped being a thing, but in all dungeons it's actually really nice to have ped be a thing, because then you don't have to worry about progression in Ganon's Tower, which is always the problem. And speaking of Ganon's Tower, that is a small key to Ganon's Tower that Roach just picked up. And looks like a container heart on the uncle, so they're gonna just each switch places on this one. I like the way Walter did it a little bit better, because then you don't have to walk out the dungeon, although he may kill a guard or two or just grab the magic. We haven't seen any bombs yet, so could have seen if the guards were in the bomb prize pack, but it doesn't matter because they're both going to start a sanctuary and get bombs there. Not a lot of rupees. They'll get 50 for free in Kakariko. We'll see if they check bush crabs, check tree pulls, or anything like that. All right, looks like Roach is going to head up there and check some of those things. Oh, he's going to want to grab that bomb. Yeah. Oh, nice. Gets that nice 8 bomb tier 1 tree pull, which actually Walter had already gotten. Crab doesn't give us anything. The hearts on a crab just don't really help very much at all. And Roach can immediately check uh, Lumberjack here. I did not even get a pixel of that, so I do not know what that was. Nice bottle sitting there in the drop down, which is nice because you'll be able to turn that in and get the sick kid item on the first visit to Kakariko. Yeah, neither one picking up that piece of heart that's just sitting there in the Lost Woods. I hope like Roach is ready to skip that item, but yeah, you want the first bottle. Bottles are generally useful. You just hope I mean, we're eventually going to get a flute to be able to fill it up whenever we want, because it is all dungeons, so we will need that flute for Misery Mire. There's a lamp early. That's kind of nice. I have that early fire source. A map. There's that map to Misery Mire. And a small key to Turtle Rock. We need at least 3 of those. Logically, we need all 4. But we can finish the dungeon with just 3 if it comes to it, by skipping the lava chest. And just hope that there's nothing in said lava chest, which can be a thing. And of course, the small key to Desert Palace. That's a good one. I'll open up 2 items when they can get into desert. Oh, and an ice rod too in the well. Missed that earlier when Walter got it. Always nice to find that ice rod early. Ice rod hunts are not the worst in this mode, but definitely up there in terms of annoyances, and we don't have to worry about that. Roach will be the first into the chicken hut. What? Oh, Walter's gonna farm some money. Doesn't want to orphan that bottle vendor. Looks like Roach is just hoping to either find money or he wasn't gonna worry about it. And it turns out there's 300 in the chicken hut. So Walter's gonna be feeling a little bit silly when he comes and finds that because that extra farm was not, as it turned out, necessary. And it really wasn't necessary because compass. I like compasses, but if I knew there was a compass right there and could save $100, I would not pick it. So. And sick kid, we're gonna get that check. Didn't quite catch that. I'll see it on Walter's side. And back at tavern, just 10 arrows. And Twitch and chat telling me it was just bombs at the sick kid, so not gonna be worried about that item. Kakariko, not the greatest haul ever. Ice Rod's really good, and Lamp's nice to have early. Don't want to have to worry about those dark rooms, but yeah, not a whole lot else. And Roach gonna blind check the race game. I like this, especially in Kisane. I especially like this with as dry as Kakariko's been. Yeah, that 300 in the library would have been nice, but not gonna get it. And by the time we can come back for it, probably not gonna need it. Map sitting there on the race game. Might have picked that up, but I mean, this is all dungeons. I'd be much more likely to pick that up if it was just regular Kisane. So you don't do a pendant you don't need to do. But since we're going to do all the dungeons anyway, that map really doesn't help us that much. And if it is to one of the important dungeons, one of the green pendant or the red crystals, we're going to find that anyway. It's a map of Thieves Town, so at least it's not like Hyrule Castle or GT, the maps we don't care about. And there's our glove. In in the in the dam. I'm gonna get one more item out of this. Walter will, of course, check this as well. And just a piece of heart sitting there, and Roach says, "Nope, I don't need that. I'll get plenty of pieces of heart later." And head on over to Mini Moldorm Cave. Nice use of the ice rod there. Doesn't have enough shots to do more than one. Has plenty of bombs though. But that middle one can really troll you, and getting that one with the ice rod is really good. And we get a nice magic drop there, and Roach decides to pick that up. So now he has more shots of that ice rod if he wants them. Walter not going to go to Mini Moldorm. He's going to head on over to Agena, it looks like. But not really missing anything in that Mini Moldorm cave, so whenever he gets to it, he'll get his not much. If there's something in Agena, it might be a while before Roach gets there. There's nothing else taking the runners over here. A lot of runners will want to wait till they have a book for desert or have, or even, as late as getting to Misery Mire. It's just a blue mail, so a nice luxury item for Walter, but definitely not something progressive. Looks like Walter's going to take that glove straight to the back of Escape. I like that play a lot. Now let's see what's at Ice Rod Cave. A hook shot. Ooh, that's a good one. That's my favorite item, in fact. So with lamp and glove and hook shot, I think a trip to the mountain makes a lot of sense, but Roach is thinking otherwise. As he saves and quits to the house, to Link's house. Looks like he's going to the back of Escape. And there are some mitts in the back of Escape and a fire rod. That's really good items. So that's Dark World Access. Bad Dark World Access, but it is Dark World Access. And it might, we'll see if Walter goes and does the rest of South Shore and gets the hook shot. I would probably take that glove and take those mitts straight to the mountain. We still need a Moon Pearl for actual Dark World access. Not a whole lot we can do without it. I guess we could do Super Bunny Cave, but yeah, not likely this will be an Aga seed other than the obligatory Aga play that we have to do because it's all dungeons. And flippers in the castle, so Walter's gonna need to get there at some point. The good stuff early on, kind of being spread all over the place, and could send these runners in a lot of different directions that will might cause them to miss certain locations. You know, a lot of runners will try and skip doing Hyrule Castle. Most people don't skip the back of Escape, so I don't expect Roach to miss those mitts. But it might be a while before Walter gets those flippers. Looks like he is going to get that hook shot because he is still did not save and quit at a mini Moldor. We'll see if there's anything else good in the front of Escape. And with that lamp, I fully expect Roach to do Dark Cross as well. None of these escape locations that we see right now are in logic because we don't have the small key, but that doesn't really stop us unless the only time that becomes an issue is if there's something in the back and we don't have glove. Okay, Walter with his new hook shot saves and quits to Link's house. Looks like he's gonna head over to Eastern. I really want to see the mountain at this point. We can't actually do Eastern Palace. We can do 4 checks in there. There are 4 checks in logic because we have the lamp. But no big key, no bow, not a whole lot we can do. Roach about to get his mitts. This play is probably in the hopes that the Moon Pearl is here, and then you can do like almost all of Death Mountain right away. Green pendant. Small key to pod. A shovel, which may or may not lead to anything, and a container heart. Yeah, and it is a green pendant in Hera, so can't quite get there unless we find a mirror or a hammer. Yeah, Walter's saving quitting to the house again. Probably wants to follow that shovel immediately. Oh, looks like Roach wants some money. Can do a Houlihan here. Does it successfully with the bomb. Can't do the more standard setups because flippers will mess that up. All right, let's see if anybody heads to the mountain. Looks like Roach is going to follow those flipper shirts. We see a big key on Lake Hylia Island. Could be any big key that we don't. Looks like we don't have any big keys yet. There's 4 big keys that we don't necessarily need. 2 that we don't need at all, logically or otherwise. The ones in Skull Woods and the one in Swamp Palace. The Ice Palace big key we don't need, but logically is required. And the Hera big key, which we won't need today because we do already have a hook shot, but is potentially needed if you can't Hera pot because of the look of the hook shot being behind the big key. So that can happen. I'm trying to think of those as fetch quests, as key fetch quests. So a couple of small keys that do that as well, like Thieves Town small key. Will orphan this Thieves Town big chest. You don't want to have to come back in for that one, but it can happen. Apparently the Ice Palace big key was in Zelda's cell, so Don't have to worry about that one. It won't be orphaned. And Walter on the mountain. Roach following the flippers. And of course, Walter hasn't found those flippers yet. And the fairy game is a blue bottle, which is really nice. And a piece of heart sitting there in Spectacle Rock. Walter not going to get it, but we do have a small key sitting on Spectacle Rock that we can't get until the mirror shows up. So we can be sure that that's not the Swamp Small, but it could be any other small key. All right, let's start the Paradox Cave checks while Roach does the Zora check, which is just another bottle. Okay, unfortunately, it looks like Walter's frozen up here for a bit. Let's hopefully we can get that fixed. Oh, we had sound for a second there. Yeah, apologies for the sound not being that. Unfortunately, we completely missed Paradox Cave. So hopefully Roach goes up there at some point so we can see what all Walter got, because he did get everything up there. We know he's got some sort of small key. Okay, Spiral Cave giving us the Moon Pearl, because of course the Moon Pearl is going to be on the mountain, and of course it's going to be in the last location that anyone's ever going to check, because we don't have hammer or mirror. But that also does mean that we're going to be able to see the Dark Death Mountain locations as well. So that's good for both runners. Still can't get into Mire because no mirror, no hammer. And hopefully we'll get to see Paradox Cave now that Roach is heading on over there. Meanwhile, Super Bunny on Walter's side, we have a small key and some rupees. Didn't quite catch what that small key was for. Oh, it's a book and a small key to Pod in Paradox Cave. Ah, the TR small that Walter got. Okay. We got a map to Ice Palace. Piece of heart, compass. Another piece of heart, compass. Small key to Turtle Rock. 300 rupees, bombs. And a map to Eastern. So a couple of TR smalls. Can't get in there yet because we don't know the medallion requirement. It is Quake. Nothing else Walter can do up on the mountain, so he's going to go ahead and save and quit. No doubt Roach will do all the same stuff. And this is probably going to be, I'm going to guess he's going to head over to the village now. So it might be a while before Walter gets into the escape and gets those flippers. It doesn't really need them right now. It doesn't need them until he wants to go to Swamp Palace. Literally every other flipper check is breakable. And Roach getting his Moon Pearl doesn't look like he's too happy about it, but you know, it is it is the item that you want to find, so he's gonna be able to do the rest of these checks. Uh, Interesting that we can't, even if we had the big key to Thieves Town, we actually can't do the dungeon. We have no weapons for it. Small key to Ice, which is kind of a nice key to get, but you don't really need any small keys to do Ice Palace if you do it right. But it does make routing it a lot easier. Misses on that bomb toss, but of course we got plenty of bombs right now. But just 20 rupees in the bombable hut. Yeah, I suspect Walter will do the front four of Thieves Town. Start first. Locate first item of just a piece of heart. Second item, also a piece of heart. We have a map to pod. I'm getting a lot of maps in this one. It would be great if we didn't have to do all the dungeons. And another map to desert. Okay, so yeah, pretty useless front of Thieves Town. Nothing more that Walter can do, so he'll no doubt take a death warp here. No big key and no weapon to kill blind anyway. Oh, he's just gonna walk right on out. Okay. Roach looks like he's gonna head over and do the same checks in the Village of Outcasts. They both could also do Skull Woods. We could get almost all the checks in Skull Woods. Uh, that fire rod allowing us to get to the back, and we did get a map check. Let's see, we had Thieves Town is a pendant, a regular pendant. I saw a red crystal on Mire, and the other locations that I saw were all regular crystals. Yeah, Skull Woods they could get 7 out of 8 checks. Ideally, though, if you're going to Skull Woods, you would want to leave this for last, because you're either going to have to steal a small key, steal the pot small key, in which case you're going to be relying on getting one of the 3 Skullwood small keys that's shuffled, or you're going to want to fall down the drop down, which is going to not guarantee that you'll be able to get out. And so if you're willing to save and quit out of Skull Woods, then ideally you would fall down that drop down, get the items, and save and quit. And Mummy Statue Room kind of sucks without a weapon. We do have fire rod for the mummies, at least. Roach is going to at least check a couple of locations. Is that a map to Hera on Walter's side? Definitely something to Hera. I believe would make it all our... Yeah, it is a map to Hera. It would make that makes all our Light World dungeons viewable. And looks like nothing in the middle section of Skull Woods. Roach is going to grab that key. Is going to check the item under the bridge here. If it is a sword, he can complete this, although Fighter Sword Mothula, not the most fun fight ever. Sadly, he has the book, but doesn't have the ability to check Ped because no mirror. And there's a sword sitting there on Stumpy. So Walter may choose to do Skullwoods when he comes back to this area. And we get a small key to Ganon's tower under the bridge there. And Roach at pretty low health, figures it's just better to just death warp here. And we're going to get a hype cave check. Also notice Walter did pick up the smith. So we're going to find an early smith item. We got a compass to Eastern. Big key to Turtle Rock, that's a good one. Piece of heart. Master sword. And red mail. So only one really needed item, but a couple of really nice items with that sword and that mail upgrade. Okay, let's see if Roach is going to use that key or if he's going to drop down. I kind of like the play to drop down, except that he's still got a lot of stuff in this area that he'll want to do. Like I said, I kind of like this as an end play rather than as a middle play, because then you can do the drop down and not risk anything. It looks like he is going to just go ahead and use that small key. And so far, not a whole lot in Skullwoods, it looks like. Map to Ganon's Tower for the Smith. And a Cane of Samaria in the pinball room. So that's a very important item. So hopefully maybe something's on purple chest, and since you have to turn the smith to be able to even do the purple chest, maybe that'll work out. But yeah, the Ganon's Tower map is completely useless because we know that Ganon's Tower doesn't go to pendant or crystal. Looks like Walter. Let's see, Walter going back into the dark world. We'll see if he chooses to grab the purple chest. Now looks like he's gonna go to Skullwoods. Bumper cave with just a compass. Like I said, I like compasses, but I would not go out of my way for that one. Way too far out of the way. And Walter maybe does do the drop down to finish this off. Be interesting to see if he also steals the key or not. Oh, and good point. Walter can just do Moth. He's got swords. He's got a Master Sword. Master Sword Moth is not too bad. But for the front, he still either wants a small key or will want to do the drop down. Or will need to steal the key. He won't steal the key because when you can do the boss, you just do it. And then, you know, I think end with the drop down makes the most sense. Roach will be relying on a small key showing up, and it should. You know, the odds of all three Skullwood small keys being in that bad a location. Pretty darn slim. Okay, Roach gonna get his nothing out of Thieves Town. A couple pieces of heart and a couple of maps. And it looks like Walter wants to keep all that health. Is not gonna death warp. Just gonna walk right on out. Hate to have to do this without boots, but you know, doing the dungeons that you can do when you can do them, I'm very much a proponent of that. Okay, here we go. Has a couple of fire rod shots. He looks like he's going to start off with some sword spins. And with that red mail, that's going to make it extra safe. Moth will only do a half a heart damage. Of course, the spikes do the normal heart damage no matter what mail you have. Ideally, you want to avoid those spikes. Of course, this fight where the spikes... There've been a couple of hits here where Moth was taking damage, or would be getting hit by the spikes, of course, negating Walter's damage. Just a blue rupee. And he does get a crystal. Won't be able to tell if it's red or not, unless he checks his menu. Something I like to do in Key Sandy is take a look at my menu just to see whether it's a pendant or a crystal. Looks like Roach also going to go ahead and grab that smith before he does his run over to Hype Cave. Or really a walk, since we don't have boots yet. Now let's see if Walter leaves and does the drops down into the side rooms. It looks like he is going to do that, so he's not going to have to worry about a small key. And he'll eventually get his Cane of Samaria, which is the main thing in here. Link Force, our tracker, telling me we've seen Skullwoods on the map, and it is not a red crystal, so... But yeah, it also reminded me that Roach will not be able to do the back of this dungeon yet, because he doesn't have the small key. We'll have to get it. Walter will not care about Skullwood's small keys. Might care about the Skullwood's big key if it does show up, and more, by care I mean get very annoyed at it, because of course it will become a fetch quest for him. And Roach only going to be on blue mail. The other mail upgrade sitting in a Gina's cave isn't going to be able to get that. Yeah, looks like Walter's going to go do the escape now. Or the front of escape. Do the rest of the castle checks. So he'll get his flippers, and we'll see what Roach does. Unable to finish up Skull Woods, which isn't that big a deal. It's just a blue rupee on there. But he'll have to make a different decision. And Walter already setting up a death warp. Which makes sense because he's got red mail, and red mail death warps are really annoying sometimes. Those green guards are good because they'll do a half-hour damage no matter what mail you have. We are starting to run out of locations. We do have the purple chest to check. And of course, might be something on the pier or somewhere in the east. So we have flippers and mitts. So we can get over to the east side, but it's really a long walk. I could see in this scenario, since we know we need to beat Agatower anyway, and don't have to worry about Agatower keys. I could see just doing that to get to the east part of the Dark World. So we can just do it a little bit earlier. In fact, that might be Walter's plan. Now, normally you wouldn't do... If this wasn't all dungeons, you wouldn't do that at all. No, he still has to go down and get his flippers here. Normally you wouldn't even consider doing Aga in this situation, because you have flippers, you have mitts, you can get over to the East Dark World. But this might just be faster, and it's something you have to do anyway. Roach is going to go ahead and turn... No, you already turned in the smith. Maybe going to pick up that purple chest. Of course, Walter's probably just thinking of doing Aga for East Dark World access as it is. because he doesn't have the flippers yet, but he's still have to get them. So we'll see if he changes, if that changes his plans at all. Not a whole lot we can get to East Dark World. We don't have a bow for Pod, but Pod may or may not be bow lock. We don't have... we do have the hook shot, but that just gets us back to places we can already go to. And of course, there's also Catfish. It may very well be that our progression is just sitting there on the pyramid ledge, or it could be in Pod, could be a Catfish, or it could be this purple chest check we're gonna see and just say, oh, with purple chest giving us a pair of boots. Well, that only opens up 2 locations, but it's it's certainly nice to have that. Roach finding it before Walter will have a nice advantage for a little bit. Not sure I see Walter doing a purple chest anytime soon. And he looks like he is death warping, so this could be the play to Aga. Roach gonna get his second male upgrade. Turning him into a nice pretty purple. Yeah, Walter is just gonna do Aga. Now let's see what Roach does. Oh, he's gonna take that book into desert. They do, yeah. And Walter also has that desert access, but he can't clear it because he doesn't. Oh, he can't necessarily full clear. Could do most of it. On Key Sanity, typically the torch item is gonna stop you from clearing it. Yeah, chat reminded me Eastern Palace also has actually 4 checks because we have Lamp. So all of them are in logic. I do like this play from Walter. You're right here. You're going to have to do Aga at some point anyway. It's a long walk to get to the East Dark World with flippers and no hammer. We see a small key on the torch. And what small key is it? It's a small key to Pod. Another one of those Pod small keys. I think it looks like Walter has 2. That looks like that's Roach's second as well. Means Walter has a Pod small that Roach doesn't have. And I believe that was an Ether medallion over on Roach's side, so may or may not need that. If I recall, yeah, Turtle Rock being Quake, so we don't know what Mire is yet. That Ether might be required for Mire, or Mire might be Bombos, or we just might get both those dungeons being Quake. And a flute for Roach. It's a really nice find for him. So Roach getting all the good movement items. Is choosing not to do the back of desert. May want to pair that in with Mire later, especially with that flute that he can activate. Is going to do these boots checks. King's Tomb gives us money. A good amount of money, but just money. And at this point, Roach having already done Zor doesn't need a whole lot of money for the rest of the seed, so he should be set for whatever he needs to do. Link Force reminding me that we need a Desert Big Key to do the back, so yeah, not gonna be doing that. But probably will want to wait till it has even if he got the Desert Big Key right here, waiting for the mirror access is probably a decent enough play. Bonk Rock's not going to give us anything but some more money, a whole lot less money. And we're going to activate that flute right away, and we are going to be able to see the Mire area immediately. That's probably what I would do first if I were Roach. A little unfortunate for Walter in this situation, because he's going to be drawn away from the purple chest. It might be a while before he gets there. Because he's going to do all this East Dark World stuff first. Roach heading right to the Mire area like I expected. And we'll find out if that ether is going to cut it for Myra or if we need to find another one. We need to find Quake as it is, because we need that for Turtle Rock. But do we need to find Bombos? We do not need to find Bombos. We do have a double Quake. I'd rather have, if it's going to be the medallion I don't have, let it be the medallion that I need for the other dungeon. You won't have to look in one for the other. Walter picking up a small key to Hera. Small key to Hera, good to find that before you're going there the first time. But definitely not the small key you ever want to see. It's literally needed just for one check. And if I'm playing in a key sanity mode and I never find the Hera small key, I am fine with that. We're also going to get a catfish check from Walter. Makes a lot of sense. Sadly, without the mirror, we'll not be able to mirror and do the Zora area with it. I'm going to buy a red potion over here in the shop. Might indicate that he's going to go back into pod and sequence break the right side. I thought Roach did Dark Cross, but I guess not. And we'll get that catfish check from Walter. And it's just 10 arrows, so nothing useful. We'll see if Walter goes straight to pod or if he chooses to... I guess at this point he can go do pod, he can do Eastern, he can do purple chest, he can do flips checks. Looks like he's heading towards the portal, so I'm guessing this is going to be a pod play. Roach also heading towards the castle. He may be choosing to just go ahead and do Aga right now, so he can have easy East Dark World access as well. His Aga Tower climb will be a little bit easier with those boots. Yeah, question in chat. Yeah, Flippers is absolutely logical access in pod. And if this weren't all dungeons, I have no doubt that both these players would use the Flippers to get over to pod if they want to go there. But since we're going to have to do Castle Tower anyway, I think it's a little bit faster to just do it now and not have to worry about it. It's a long walk to get to pod if you're using Flippers to get there. So get the early Castle Tower play. Really nice for me because Castle Tower, you know, when you don't have anything in those chests, it's like 5 minutes of nothing progress. So in this case, both since they're not doing it at the same time, we can focus on Walter a little bit and see what's going on in pod. And when Walter was doing, we got to focus on Roach a little bit, or for what he was doing at that time. And with 2 small keys, you can do quite a bit in pod. Some of these checks, of course, will be out of logic. For instance, we'll no doubt hammer jump and get the Dark Maze items. Those are behind 6 pod small keys. We only have 2, but no reason to put those off if you can do it. And I have no doubt both Walter and Roach will be able to execute a hammer jump if they want to. Plus, we saw Walter pick up a potion. I expect that will be used to break the Bollock side. And Walter is going to open the middle door. Without bow or hammer, I think that's the right choice. If you have those items, it does mean looping around quite a bit. Big key to desert. So Walter, when he gets desert... Actually, he could just do desert right now, except for the torch item. But when he does desert, he'll just be able to do it, if he wants to. But yeah, you'd have to go through this sequence he's going several times if you want to save the key from the front door. And with the bow, you know, you can consider doing that. Maybe get an extra check-in somewhere, or maybe save one of those small keys for Helmasaur. But without the bow, I think it's better just do it once. Oh yeah, and no hammer anyway, so can't even do it that way. But we are going to see the items here. With bow and hammer, you know, saving that small key is not a bad play. It is extra time. He's setting up the Death Warp now. And then gonna go in and do this, which is probably a little bit faster with the road mail, because that spike will again do 1 heart of damage, so it only has to get 1 more heart of damage. Blue Rupee doesn't help us at all. And a big key to Thieves Town, which does help us. Very out of logic, big key to Thieves Town, because no flippers. Sorry, flippers. No bow. Walter may or may not follow that right away, since it is out of logic. And we also don't have the hammer or the small key to get the big chest. But it is 3 items, and it is a dungeon that we have to do. He may choose to do it anyway. Yeah, no hammer or small key, so can't access the big chest. Needs both of those things. Alright, Roach finishing up Aga. We'll see what he chooses to do next. And there's that second small key used. We'll get 3 more in-logic checks here. Couple maps. Compass. Also will be able to count his desert. Small key to Misery Mire. Misery Mire small. It's nice to get that first one for routing purposes. And technically, logically, you need 3 for the left side items behind the torches. But you actually don't need any Misery Mire small keys for the front at all. And not even for the boss. So, Misery Mire small keys. And technically, if you ignore logic, you don't need any Misery Mire small keys to do the right side, because you can steal. There's lots of pot keys you can steal in Mire. They're setting up the hammer jump. Doesn't quite get it. We'll have to try again. Meanwhile, Roach getting his nothing out of Catfish. Let's see where he chooses to go next. He also decides he wants to go to Mire. No, it looks like he's starting at Sanctuary. That looks good. There it is. Might have to do that again if he wants to check the big chest, depending on how many pod keys he finds in between. Oh, Roach just gonna blind check the lumberjack item. I believe we saw this in Walter's side, but it was so quick. Oh, it's just a small key. Okay. Oh, and it's an important small key. It's small key to Swamp. Oh, baby. Can't do anything with that right now without a mirror, but yeah, so Aga was required early. Both runners have done it, but Walter doesn't have the boots yet, so can't get that small key. But, he'll be happy he orated Aga when he does get those boots, because when the time comes, he'll do that along with Bonk Rocks and King's Tomb, and we'll be very happy to find that small key. Meanwhile, it looks like Roach is going to head over to Eastern Palace and give us our first check there. I do believe, yeah, we saw Taha's hut here on Walter's side. I don't think there was anything interesting. We do have a small key to pod, which is kind of interesting. That shovel, which turned up nothing. Heart containers, not a terrible thing. Meanwhile, Walter gonna do some flips checks, which we saw on Roach's side already. Pendant Desert, saw Crystal on Eastern. I think we already knew that. I think that's all. Yeah, that's all our pendants and crystals. Looks like we just don't know what the other 5/6 crystal is. Yeah. Oh, Roach saw lumberjack. Yeah, that was early. We didn't quite see it. But Walter will just check it when he gets boots. Walter also getting that nice free blue potion. Okay, is this going to be a hammerless ice play from Roach? We're kind of running out of things to do. I'm guessing Roach doesn't want to do pod with only 3 keys if he can avoid it. And also, since he had seen what was on the Lumberjack and saw that it was a small key, he was a little more incentivized to do the Aga play when he did. Whereas Walter was clearly doing it just so he could do some pod. I do like the ice play. It kind of sucks to do it without the hammer, but with that small key, we can icebreaker without worrying about getting stuck, which is really nice. And there's the hammer. First chest of ice. Now we just icebreaker and just beat the dungeon. And we do have the Ice Palace big, so we will be able to full clear this, which is really nice to not have to worry about that Ice Palace big chest. Of all the so-called fetch quest locations in dungeons, I think that one's the worst. I think Walter's just gonna walk over to desert. It's really unfortunate. Just not gonna use He's got a lot of really good things to do, and just doesn't. So purple chest not really on his mind, and so he's missing out on those boots. And they are going to be hard required because we need those boots to get to that small key that's sitting on the lumberjack ledge. That is the swamp small key. So right now, Roach with a nice little advantage. We still have a lot of game to play. We've got exactly 1 dungeon completed between the 2 runners, so. And that 1 dungeon is Roach can't even do until he finds the Skullwood small key. There are 3 of them, and it is a crystal, so we will find one. It just might be a while. Roach having used the pot key to check the front of Skullwoods, which made sense for him at the time because he didn't have a sword. Whereas Walter had a sword when he went there. So far, not a whole lot else in ice. When Walter went there, he had the Master Sword, and so it made sense for him to finish the dungeon, and then if he wanted to check the front, he had to drop down. Walter is going to get that flute, so that's really nice for him. Oh, we got... Sounds like somewhere along the line, Roach picked up that Skullwood small that I missed. So that's good for him. They were bound to show up. Big shout outs to my tracker, Link Force. Keeping track of everything. Keeping track of Key Sandy is very, very difficult. And without a co-com, having him in chat telling me what I'm getting wrong is really, really helpful. Okay, gonna get that big chest. And I completely missed it because my stream is a little bit choppy. And Roach gonna go into the cold stare fight. Ah, yeah, sorry, Link Force. Yeah, Link Force, she doing the tracking and doing a great job as always. Okay, Walter gonna go ahead and finish out Desert while Roach finishes off Ice Force. Run out of fire rod shots, but nice sword spin should be able to finish this off. Also, red mail shining in this fight. And that's cold stare down, and it is just bombs. So, I believe all we got out of here was a hammer, but that's a pretty big find. And of course, we got a crystal, so. Not quite a run round from Walter on Landmo, but it does clean it up very quickly. Now let's see where Roach heads next. It's like headed up to the mountain. No, sorry, Roach is heading over to Village Outcast. Good old Start the Mountain flute away. And was that Quake on Landmo? Didn't quite catch it. Thank you to Ignored Twitcher, who we're not ignoring. And Roach can take that hammer and do hammer picks. Unfortunately, Roach is not the one with the Thieves Town big key, but that hammer won't help until, won't get us that big chest item until we have the small key anyway. Just rupees at the hammer peg, so. Roach with over 1,000 rupees, there's absolutely no reason to pick that up. Walter also in Village Outcast, gonna activate that flute. And probably will also head over to the Mire area. And he could actually go in, because he's got that Quake. And Roach can take that small key from Skullwoods and finish up. Looks like he's going to clean up the Skullwoods area. Sadly, well, wait, no, I think I see a big key to Skullwoods here, so he is going to be able to finish this. If this is something good, that's going to work out really well for Roach, because this is much less of an incentive for Walter to ever come back here. And it is a small key to Thieves Town. So that's really interesting, because he doesn't have that big key yet. But when he does get the big key, he will be able to full clear Thieves Town. And I don't know that Walter's going to get that small key anytime soon. And we'll probably take that, just end up doing Thieves Town without the small key. Okay, Walter is going to go into Mire. No big key, but can check most of this dungeon. But yeah, Walter just keep getting kept further and further away from that purple chest. Which keeps him further and further away from the Swamp Small Key, which isn't really relevant until we find Hammer. Sorry, not Hammer. We have that until we find Mirror. Although in Walter's case, he needs to find that hammer. It's sitting there in Ice Palace. Okay, so we're gonna get Moth from Roach. Walter is getting me the new checks in Mire. Only 2 small keys, so this left side technically not in logic, but we don't care. That third small key could just be in a dumb spot to lead us. Is gonna do some of the other checks first, it looks like. Not unusual to check this item before going and doing the right side. And it's a mushroom, so to be determined whether that's any good. Could potentially see a fake powder depending on how quickly he decides to turn that mushroom in, but he doesn't have a hammer yet, or a mirror, so couldn't actually do it right now. And we get a blue boomerang, not very interesting. Nice for some strats in GT in particular. We're gonna see the cutscene. Okay, Roach gonna flute away from the mountain again. Or maybe not. Maybe this time he's actually going to go ahead and do something. He can get to Hera with that hammer. So that might be his plan. Could also check Ether Tablet and could do Spike Cave. So quite a few checks for Roach over in the Hera area. Doesn't look like he has the big key to Hera, so will not be able to do the big chest. So that will be a loose item for him. It won't matter unless there's something there. And I find it's one of the lesser Bad wants to skip. It's not too hard to get back here. You're gonna be up in the mountain a few times later anyway. So we're gonna get a whole lot of new checks here. Compass for Ice Palace for Walter. I find Ice Palace is one of the worst dungeons for counting items, so that's not... I mean, if you're gonna get a compass, that's not a terrible one to get, but not at all what we're looking for. And a map to Turtle Rock, but we already know the Turtle Rock is a crystal. Don't know if Walter knows that it is. I think a lot of the map checking has been on Roach's side. So Meyer pretty much coming up empty, it looks like. Roach gonna check Hera basement. Could have a vanilla big key, in which case you'd be able to check the big chest. I have no doubt that he's going to... Yeah, he's already setting up for the Death Warp. Taking some damage from these tiles instead of doing the coffee break strat. And we are up to, with that Turtle Rock small key, we're up to all 4 of them. Which is really nice, because when we go into Turtle Rock, assuming we're not in go mode, we'll be able to check the lava chest. Won't have to orphan it. I might take it back. As bad as the Ice Palace big chest is to have to get back to, if you can't open it the first time through, that lava chest might actually be worse. And just a compass. And Walter heading over to Ice Palace, which will be good for him. He'll get his hammer. Still a long ways away from those boots. And just a reminder, those boots are hard required. Apparently I missed the mushroom turn and it was just 10 arrows. So. And now we're going to see a Hera pot from Roach. Wants to kill that Moldorm. Didn't drop anything, so we don't have to worry about drops messing us up. Looks like he was going for the spin speed strat. Had the spin speed, but then got hit out of it. And he's going to switch over to the bomb strats. Meantime, Walter about to get his hammer. That actually might bring him back to the purple chest, just because he'll be able to do hammer pegs now. And then the purple chest will be right there. And we get a small key, and that last Misery Mire small key. So all that stuff that Walter did that was nothing now in, still not in logic because we don't have a Mire big key. So it's all behind the Mire big key. And we'll see what Moldorm has for us. This is the green pendant, so we get a green pendant turn in. Just 20 rupees, but maybe the green pendant will be something. What do we even need between the 2 runners? We need some big keys. So we need a bow. And we need a mirror. We don't have a Ganon's Tower big key yet. 2 small keys is enough to do the dungeon if you don't have to do any of the base. Actually, even if you do the basement right, you don't need to. 2 keys is enough. We need Eastern Palace big. And a pod big. And a Mire big. So yeah, lots of big keys still to be found. Items, like I said, mirror, bow. I'm getting close with those items, but yeah, still lots of big keys. And Roach can turn in that green pendant immediately. See what we get. It's big key to Mire, so it's an important one. So Mire, finishing up Mire is behind the Hera big key somewhere. Don't know where that is, though. Roach heading into Eastern. I believe this is our first look at Eastern Palace. Walter looks like he's gonna go ahead and finish up Ice Palace. Luckily, he has a green potion. Otherwise, there's no way he was gonna have enough magic to do this. Heart container. Nice, but not what we're looking for at all. Oh, he picked up the bow somewhere. Was bow in the first chest? Oh my god, I missed that. That's a terrible place for a bow. Oh my god, you don't want to go to Eastern without the bow. But it's right there. Still don't have the big key, unless I'm missing something. Maybe that'll be in here too. Not in that chest, though. That will incentivize Roach to go into Pod, perhaps. Which will probably get him his Thieves Town Big Key. And I believe the Desert Big was in there, too. Okay, Walter finishing up Ice Palace. That's his third dungeon. So both runners with 3 dungeons down. The difference being Roach having done Hera, Walter having done Desert. If Roach heads into Palace of Darkness after this, he's going to be able to finish Desert and Thieves Town as well, assuming he does a hammer jump. And that's it for Eastern. And where are we fluting to this time? So yeah, Eastern's main prize. That's funny because we had first chest ice for hammer, first chest Eastern for bow, both items needed for those respective dungeons. Yes, this is the pod play. This is good for Roach because he'll get those big keys, and if that leads him over to Desert, he'll get the Quake and be able to go into both Mire and Turtle Rock, and he'll be able to. Looks like Turtle Rock, he's got everything he needs for it, except that Quake medallion. Walter gonna check the Ether tablet, I believe, or head over to. He's got Hammer now. He's gonna head over to and do all this stuff over on the Hera side of the mountain. Unfortunately, runs into a dead rock. Also, unfortunately, not following that hammer over to Hammer Pigs, and more importantly, the purple chest. Still doesn't have those boots. Roach has had those boots for, I'd say, a good 30 minutes or so. Yeah, Walter can also full clear Turtle Rock. Or will be able to, because I believe that last TR small was sitting in Hera. We'll have to do it we'll have to be doing it a lot slower than Roach will, because still without those boots. So, yeah, Walter's still pretty far away from getting those boots. Yeah, there's that last TR small key. So Walter will be able to finish up Turtle Rock while he's up here if he wants to. And, Turtle Rock's a lot of items, and you got everything to do it. So it's a good play for him. Might find the mirror, which would in some ways be unfortunate, because he still needs that Swamp Small that's sitting behind the boots on the lumberjack ledge. Walter, already down to 4 hearts, is going to go ahead and just do the regular coffee break strat. Unfortunately, right now, not getting new checks from either runner. There's that Thieves Town Big for Roach. In logic now with that bow. And Roach can choose to clear everything. Actually, he can finish this, and probably will. Probably leaves either the big chest or the yeah, he's gonna leave Harmless Hellway behind, it looks like. Because didn't go ahead and do the big chest here. So this will be a new check. I'm thinking that Roach is gonna not open the front door. And I missed. It was apparently the mirror sitting there in the big key chest. That's really big. Except that he still doesn't have the boots to get the small key to Swamp. But it does open up a lot of checks for him, and maybe, or will open up a lot of checks for. That's Roach having that mirror. He's got the Swamp Small, and he will be able to go do Swamp right away after he's done with Pod and this area. Yeah, I think he is gonna. Yeah, he's got 2 keys left. Wants to do the back. He really should do the back. Mainly because he'll get that desert big key. With 3 keys, you can't quite do everything. But if you don't open that front door, you can get everything but Harmless Hellway and still be able to do the back and still be able to do the boss, I should say. He's got 1 more key to spend, and I do expect him to spend it on getting to the boss. Walter, meanwhile, gets his green pendant. We'll see if he heads over to Turtle Rock with all the Turtle Rock stuff that he has. Let's see, what are we still missing? Pod. Oh no, wait, no. Yeah, I guess Pod big. So yeah, Roach not able. I keep saying he's able to finish it, but not going to be able to finish it. Is going to spend the key here. So when he comes back, he'll just have. Oh, powder's nice. I didn't. Did Walter not check that? Because he doesn't seem to have the powder. I guess he didn't check that. So we're still missing between both runners the Pod big key, the Eastern big key. But I believe item-wise, the only thing. Yeah, item-wise, we have everything between the 2 runners. Yeah, chat saying 3 big keys for no mode. So that would be the Pod, Eastern, and... Oh, yeah, Ganon's Tower big key. Kind of an important one. And of course, the Ganon's Tower big key could just be sitting there in Ganon's Tower. And it wouldn't surprise me if runners go in for that. The other 3 big keys can't be... Fortunately, the other big keys can't be in Ganon's Tower. At least the ones that we need. We don't really care about the Swamp big. Unless there's something in that big chest. And because they're all crystals, and so can't have those in Ganon's Tower. Okay, Roach gonna head over to the Mire Desert area. We'll be able to clear both of these. He only has 2 more checks in Desert, though. Landmo and, of course, the big chest. Which we've seen the big chest on Walter's side. Actually, we've seen both of those on Walter's side. We're also going to get a check of Checkerboard Cave. It's a small key. It's a Ganon's Tower small key, which just, cleans up a little bit of routing. Meanwhile, Walter giving us new checks in Turtle Rock. I missed the first 3. I don't see chat going crazy over anything, so I'm going to guess there's nothing in those first 3 checks. Like I said, there's not a whole lot else that we're missing. Of course, also a sword would be nice, but Master Sword Silverless is doable. A shield and chain chomps. Nobody ever wants to do Master Sword Silverless, but it is should be in both these runners' repertoire if they have to do it. And a reminder, this could be Quake on Landmo, and that's why we're saying that Roach will be able to complete Mire once done with Desert. Doesn't know it yet, though. So far, TR coming up pretty dry. And Roach a little low on magic, and I have to switch to other strats here. Getting some nice spins in and some nice slashes afterwards. Unfortunately, there's the Hera big key. That's the one you don't want to see, as Walter does a couple of angry slashes. And Walter also, unfortunately, without that mirror, will not be able to check Mimic Cave, so he's got to hope there's nothing there. There's another pod small key. Okay, Roach gonna go ahead and do Mire now. We'll be able to full clear this. There'll be a couple new checks for us, the big chest and whatever's on Vidi. And Walter about to do Laser Bridge. A Hera Compass, just what we needed. Piece of heart. Big key. GT big key. Okay, no progression going to be in Ganon's Tower, so that's nice. And then I'm not sure what was on that last one. But yeah, that GT big key is really, really nice. Oh, big key to pod. 2 nice big keys in a row. So now just missing that Eastern big key. Roach gonna get that mushroom that led to nothing. And we'll see if Trinex is anything. And unfortunately, that pod big key could once again lead Walter further away from getting back to that purple chest. And a sword on Trinex. So we now have a nice tempered sword. Both runners are going to get that. Yeah, exactly. Killer App calling it the classic. Yeah, it is definitely one of the classic locations for a sword. We say there's always a sword in swamp, but yeah, Trinex likes to have them too. After Roach finishes up Meyer here, though, it'll be interesting to see what he does next. He's got some choices. Can do Swamp Palace, maybe waiting to see if that big key shows up. And also could do follow Walter's footstep and do Turtle Rock. We'll be able to of course, do the mirror check there. Let's see if we can get the other classic. Let's see if we can't get that second bow on Biddy. This is not going to be an easy, vitreous fight. Roach does not have a cape or a blue cane for safety. Does not have silver arrows. We'll see. Maybe we might see some bomb bow strats. Okay, let's see what Walter does now. You might get back to Pod and get back to that mirror, which in some ways would be unfortunate, because the fact that it looks like where he's headed now. I mean, he can beat the dungeon, which is good. But the bad part is that it's just taking him further and further away from those boots. And he keeps finding good things to do. And I don't think he's going to have enough small keys to get that mirror. So, yeah, if I'm Walter, I'm thinking I want to beat the boss. I know I have to do this anyway. And going to leave that big key chest behind. So, it's really unfortunate for him in that sense. But if there's nothing behind that mirror, while it might take him a while to get back to it, it will keep him away from bad mirror checks. Of which there are a lot. Yeah, that mirror that Walter's gonna miss is behind all 6 pod smalls, so I think he just goes and beats the boss. Meanwhile, Roach gonna be into his yes, like I said, he's already got the blue potion ready, using some NMG strats, doing a pretty good job with it. Unfortunately, red mail helps you out here too. Alright, did a very nice job in the first phase, and now can just shoot those 8 arrows in the second phase. And there goes, Vidi goes down. Oh my god. And it is silvers. That's so dumb. That's so dumb. Oh my god. Tempered sword on Trinex and silvers on Vidi. I didn't seriously want that for these runners. It does. I mean, it's nice to have silvers, and Roach doesn't know it. He will get tempered. But not exactly the friendly way to do it. No surprise, gonna turn that mushroom in right away. Oh, okay. Walter spends his small key to get the powder in Harmless Hellway. I did not expect that. Is not gonna beat. Not gonna beat this dungeon right now. I need 2 more small keys to pod now. We don't know if that powder is anything. I correct me if I'm wrong. I don't believe Roach has checked that yet. I did not see what was in the big chest of pod. Oh yeah, Killer App. Thank you. Doesn't have the bow yet. Yeah, can't beat pod without the bow, but can't beat pod without 1 more small key, and can't get that mirror without a 2nd more small key. So we're gonna see the bat check right now from Roach. It looks like Walter's not gonna be far behind. And just $50, so Oh, half magic on big chest. So that's a nice luxury item. Don't know if Roach is going to get that because if he's already in, depending on where that Eastern Palace big key could potentially already be in go mode when he does pod. I do believe we're still only that Eastern Palace big key away from no mode. Okay, Roach having gotten the Thieves Town big key. Now is everything he needs to finish that dungeon. I think that's where he heads to next. And maybe the Eastern big key is just in there. Isn't there a big key on Hyrule Island? Yeah, I completely forgot, like, Hylia Island. At this point, it's got to be either the Swamp big key or the Skull Woods. Or Eastern. It could be Eastern. We have Skull Big. We do have Skull Big. That's right. We got. So that leaves Swamp and Eastern. Again, shout outs to Link Force. Always likes to shout at me when I mess stuff up, and definitely appreciated because I'd rather be wrong and be corrected. Walter also going to be in Thieves Town. Doesn't have the small key though. So we're going to see if that big chest is anything. Again, at this point, it'd have to be the Eastern big for it to matter for Walter. Yeah, we're going to see the difference, so, between doing this dungeon with boots and doing this dungeon without boots. Roach going to just zip around. But this does put him close to that purple chest, so maybe he does hammer pegs into the purple chest right after this. And there's a small key. There's another pod small key. That's really good for Walter. He needs 2 more of those. And now Walter needs 1 more pod small key. Just a compass in the big chest, so if Walter never comes back to that, he'll be fine. Did I just miss the Eastern Palace big key in the Maiden's chest? We're in no mode. Okay, chat telling me we're in no mode, and since it's the Eastern Palace big key, it must be the Swamp big key sitting on the island then. Yeah, there it is on Walter's side. Big key to Eastern. Yeah, this is going to be really tough for Walter to catch up. All based on that just leaving that purple chest behind. Roach is going to be able to go mode the rest of these dungeons. Doesn't need to worry about anything. Even Turtle Rock will get it. Might check on path locations for a 3rd sword. If he does that, he'll end up on gold sword. I should say, if he does that and finds one, he'll end up on gold. So just bombs on blind though. Oh, and he still needs to pick up the GT big key. But he's going to run into that stuff in Turtle Rock, so. If he goes to Turtle Rock first, he'll be really happy. If he goes to... He could go do Swamp, though. Could go do Eastern, could go do Pod. May want to try and leave Turtle Rock for last, which is certainly understandable. Doesn't realize that everything he needs is on path in Turtle Rock. Look, he's going to check Graveyard Ledge right now. It does mean he's not quite going to go mode everything until he gets to Turtle Rock. Yeah, actually, he can't go to Pod. He can go to Swamp. And he can go to Eastern. Might choose to go to Turtle Rock because he's done a large portion of Eastern. So there's only a couple of checks left there. He's done most of Pod, so only a couple of checks left for him there. And he doesn't have the big key to Swamp. So I suspect he'll either do Swamp or Turtle Rock at this point. Unfortunately, if he does Swamp, that might give Walter a little bit of time to catch up. Looks like he's going to grab that purple chest now. Having just done hammer pegs. We'll get those boots. And we'll be able to get... Hopefully he goes straight to the 3 bonk checks. Which would, of course, include... the lumberjack. And looks like Roach is going to blind pull Ped. Which we know isn't anything... it could be... we haven't checked this. We just know that it's not anything he needs. But it could be like a third sword. Or I guess a fourth sword. We know he's going to get one on Trinex. Or it could just be a piece of heart. Walter going to go and check the Skullwood's big chest. It was some sort of small key here, if I'm not mistaken. Unfortunately, Roach looks like he's going to go ahead and do Swamp first, so that's going to buy Walter a little bit. Oh, yeah. I knew it was a small key. It was a thieves' small key. Oh, I really hope Walter doesn't go follow that for that compass that's sitting there. Yeah, he's got the purple chest anyway. You're not going to do that. And Roach can do some more mirror checks. So every moment Roach spends not doing Turtle Rock gives Walter time to catch up. He's got a lot of catching up to do, though. He has to go to Eastern to pick up his bow. He's got the big key, so he'll be able to finish it. He needs to go get his small key for Swamp at the Lumberjack. He's got to get another Pod small key because he needs to both finish Pod with one and get the mirror in the big key chest with the other. He still needs to get the Misery Mire big key. I forget where the Misery Mire big key was. Maybe someone in chat can remind me. And Roach is going to check the Bombo's tablet while Walter gets his Swamp small. Just arrows on the Bombo's tablet. I mean, at this point, any of these new checks that Roach is doing, we're not going to get anything. And Walter going to do the other 2 boots checks. I don't recall anything being in these. The Desert Torch had something. I thought it was a small key, but I don't remember. And rightly, Roach is going to go ahead and check this Lake Hylia Island big key. Also, could be mixing up my torch. I do one in the race. The race I called yesterday had a torch small key. We never did find out what it was, but so I might be mixing that up. But now he's got the Swamp big key, so this really incentivizes him to go and just full clear Swamp Palace. And we'll see if he does all of it. If he skips left side or chooses to go back in afterwards. This is not a bad call. I mean, it is, like, I believe Swamp has 10 items in it. And he has everything he needs to full clear it. But unfortunately, Turtle Rock is where he needs to go. It does look like Walter's going to go into Eastern, so at least we'll be able to get that bow. Oh, wait, that's the Mire big key. It was on Saha. Okay. So that might send Walter over to finish Mire. And in fact, that's exactly what he's doing, which is unfortunate because now he's going to have Well, he's got the tempered sword, so that'll make the first part of the Vidi fight easier. But he's not going to have a bow at all for the second fight. But it is going to give him a bow, which means he'll have incentive to go and do Pod Eastern. Except does he? I think he's used all. Yeah, he's used all his Pod Small, so he needs to find one somewhere. There may have been one in here, but I just don't remember. Meanwhile, Roach starts his swamp play. And of course, we'll see if there's always a sword in the swamp meme decides to carry on in this dungeon. That may be another reason why not to go to Turtle Rock. I know I prefer to have at least a tempered sword when I fight Trinex. Although I also prefer to have a tempered sword when I fight Argus, so you know. Yeah, go -2, I think. Yeah, he's missing... Roach missing Pod Big and GT Big. He may go ahead and do the left side first. That's kind of becoming the meta, although in Key Sandy, I think it's a better meta than in regular modes. I would have opened that big chest first. If it'd been one of those big keys, I would have considered skipping left side at go -1, but we know none of those keys are going to be there, so this is, you know, going to be perfectly fine, other than, you know, obviously it's going to be a time sink. Yeah, the diver down just making this faster. I always say it's faster, but not fast. It's still really slow to do left side, but again, in Key Sandy, when you know it's going to be 2 items, you're not worried about being the map and the compass, or a map, or even worse, a map and a big key to a compass in the big chest or something like that. And Walter doing a nice job with the big eyeball. And finishes off Vidi. We'll get his bow. This will incentivize him back to Eastern at the very least. He'll get silvers there. Yeah, rupees, and what do we got on the other left side chest? Rupees. I think one of the worst things about the way left side swamp works is that you can't just mirror out to the start of the dungeon. I mean, you could, but it's not faster to mirror out to the start of the dungeon. Whereas a lot of the other bad checks, like, you know, doing the back of pod or doing, you know, well, some of the other, like, I mean, back of pod, you just mirror out. Mire takes you right back to the area that you would want to be in anyway. Okay, let's see where Walter decides to go next. Yeah, exactly. I thought he'd go to Eastern. This makes sense. He'll get silvers, have a very easy Armos fight. We'll be able to full clear this dungeon. We did not have the big key when Roach was here earlier. There's another Skullwood small key. Don't need that. And some bombs. So swamp coming up pretty dry. Could end up with a sword on Argus, but really not much to go off of here. But we'll have to do a Master Sword Argus fight, and probably we'll still have to do a Master Sword Trinex fight, unless the unless this is a sword, or if he does, you know, if there's one in Eastern that he'll get, if he chooses to do Eastern before finishing up Turtle Rock. And this will be Roach's 7th dungeon. And when Walter finishes up Eastern, this will be his, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8th dungeon. So, you know, we've been saying Roach had a really nice lead for a while, but Walter it is catching up here. The big problem for Walter is he still needs those pod smalls to finish up pod. And we don't know where they are. There was not one in the big chest, but there could be one on Armos Knights. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe Walter has used all his pod smalls, so he does need 2 more. No, he couldn't have used all. He's got 4 now. There's no way you ever use the Dark Maze key. So yeah, he's got the one from Thievestown, but he'll probably use that for the Helmosaur fight. So he still needs to find 1 more pod small somewhere, and there's 2 more out there. And Roach is going to go ahead and quickly do Eastern Palace. I should say, did I say Walter? I meant Roach. But they're both in Eastern now. Roach going to catch up relatively quick because he doesn't have to do the checks, except the big chest. Yeah, until Walter gets 1 more pod small, I'm still going to put Roach in the lead here. Because that mirror. But I believe a pod small and the mirror puts Walter into go mode, whereas Roach needs to go do Turtle Rock to get into his go mode. Let's see what Armos has for us. Just 5 rupees. Kind of running out of places where another pod small could show up. Trying to think where we have, because it is a crystal. So the fact that it's a crystal means you can't have it in GT. Won't be behind the mirror, because the mirror is behind 6 pod smalls, so that's not a concern. Would be in Mimic Cave, but there's got to be another one hanging out there, hanging out somewhere if that's the case. Also, I'm not sure that Roach and Walter have the same 4 pod smalls, so if somebody can remember where Roach got one, I'm sorry, where Roach got one that Walter did not. Yeah, good point. Not Mimic Cave, behind the mirror. So yeah, we already ruled out the Mimic Cave. Sorry, the mirror checks, and Mimic Cave is a mirror check. So yeah, won't be there either. And Walter doing exactly what we expected, and really exactly what he should do given the circumstance, which is beat the dungeon. The hard part is how quickly after he finds one of those pod smalls does he even get back. And Roach doing what he needs to do, which is go do Turtle Rock. These runners both with the same number of dungeons completed now. Walter's going to take a dungeon lead. But that mirror is going to be really tough for him. So it's really going to come down to is, can Walter find a 5th pod small and get back into pod to get that mirror before Roach finishes Turtle Rock? Because once Roach finishes Turtle Rock, he'll be in go mode. And Roach, you know, when he went through pod, he did not open that front door and was able to check the big key chest. Which is something that Walter did not. He did open the front door, so used up that extra key. I don't think I've ever seen a race that I mean, we don't know if that's going to be what it comes down to. But this race could come down to Roach not opening up that front door. I don't see that every day. Yeah, to answer the question, chat, Gamachu, yeah, both both are in Laser Bridge, the Pod Big and the GT Big. So Roach gonna full clear this. We'll actually get to see what's in Mimic Cave, but there's really not a whole lot that could. I mean, maybe a cape or a cane for extra safety, but I don't think Roach is gonna need that. Also, there's a Tempered Sword sitting on Trinex that'll help Roach out. And Walter taking that one dungeon lead. And a reminder for those of you that came in late, or just to recap a little bit, the other big part of this seed is Roach turned in the purple chest a lot earlier than Walter did. Purple chest had boots. And one of the things that were behind the boots was a swamp small key sitting there on the lumberjack. So Roach probably had the boots a good 30-40 minutes before Walter did. Unfortunately, with those big keys sitting on Laser Bridge, not going to save Roach time in TR. And I think it was the last two. I believe Pod was the very last check. So unless he does, does the reverse Laser Bridge, goes back to front, it's going to be the last item he gets. And Walter also going to pull Ped. Doesn't have the book out, so he's just going to blind pull it. We know this is nothing. One of the good things for Walter, though, is he chose to do Aga Tower early because we didn't have the hammer and wanted that easier Dark World access. And since it's all dungeons, you have to do it anyway. Did not know there was a small key sitting on Lumberjack. And so, it was not quite as incentivized. Roach knew there was a small key on the Lumberjack, so was a little more incentivized to do it. Of course, when you see a small key there, it doesn't have to be Swamp. It could be an extra Mire key, so... do we have Pyramid Fairy? I never did figure out what that other red crystal is. We may never know now. Yeah, we got Pyramid Fairy, so Walter can turn that in. Maybe gets a pod small. Hopefully gets a pod small. We know that Mire was a red crystal. I don't know that we ever found out the other red crystal. But yeah, this is absolutely a new check. I'm gonna guess it's pod. Because Walter, having just done pod, is towing that big bomb, and Roach was doing everything to not do Turtle Rock. I think he was really trying to get that Turtle Rock into GT play. If this is a pod small, gonna be very interesting finish here. Small key 2. Oh, my freezing right as I check it. Yeah, that's true. If pod is red, there won't be. And I completely missed. It was pod. Okay, so there wasn't a pod red crystal then. There's that Hera big key that we really don't want to see, but, Roach is not going to leave Turtle Rock just for that. Was it Cape and Pod Small in Pyramid Fairy? Guess we'll never know what that other red crystal was. There's a pod small that... so there was a pod small that Roach had that Walter didn't. And it looks like Walter is heading back to pod, so this is getting really interesting. So is going to clean up pod. I do believe he's done everything but the big key chest, so he's going to get that mirror. And that should be go mode for him. We'll have to do swamp, but swamp is a very quick dungeon in go mode. Roach about to hit his go mode on the laser bridge here. But also has to go all the way back to pod to get his last crystal to finish up. No safety items. This is a big pain. I do believe Roach still had... Oh, no, he used his blue. Oh, nice refill from the heart piece there. Walter gets his mirror and ends up being the first in to go. Okay. Roach gets his big keys. They both have very fast dungeons to do at this point. Pod pretty quick to do if you don't have to full clear it. But at this point, I feel like, yeah, Walter's going to get into swamp. Yeah, so this kind of came down at the end to Roach just not wanting to go into Turtle Rock, doing everything he could to do before that, and the fact that he didn't then get to go mode Swamp Palace could end up costing him. But this is definitely not over by any stretch. See how quickly Roach can get through Trine X, and then he'll just have to flute on over to pod. Of course, easier to do hammer than to do master sword here, although master sword isn't too terrible. Roach will get his tempered sword here. Walter not gonna check anything in swamp. Roach gets his tempered, gets his crystal, needs to mirror and flute over to pod as quickly as he can. Walter through the slowest parts of swamp. Has everything to do a very easy diver down. Roach has to run through the maze here, the hedge maze here, to get over to pod. Yeah, and I think I agree with Chad. I think Walter in the lead, about to fight Argus. Roach needs to make his way all the way through pod to get to the boss, which isn't too bad, but you know, does take time. And I would give an execution edge to Walter overall, especially now in go mode. Let's see if Roach can do anything to catch up. Yeah, in the end, it came down. Like I was thinking it was going to come down to that saving that key for saving that one pod small key by not opening the front door. But in the end, Roach not going to Turtle Rock and doing the other dungeons. I mean, it was certainly reasonable to do Swamp especially before doing Turtle Rock. But Turtle Rock turned out to be the answer, and unfortunately for Roach, didn't go up there. So yeah, this seed is definitely turned around. And really, I mean, we were getting down to where those last pods, small keys were, and there weren't a whole lot of places. So I'm not sure what other locations there even were besides that pyramid ferry. I guess Hera Big Chest, maybe. That could have been a thing. Since both runners Hera potted and did not have the big key at the time. Yeah, Walter can be the first into GT, and since we already have the GT big key, no big key guessing game today. It looks like Walter only has one GT small, so he does have to remember to just grab the pot key. Actually, he doesn't have to remember to grab the pot key. He could just use the helmet key, and I think that's a little faster. Now, I have seen Key Sandy races where a runner goes into GT with no GT smalls that has to grab that pot key and doesn't always remember. Yeah. Link Force saying Link Force apparently might have missed. We'll find out how many he has. He has at least one. And really, like I said, if you're not clearing the basement, you don't need any. Okay, Roach gonna mirror and flute back to the mountain. Gonna be just a little bit behind, about a mountain climb behind getting into GT. Yeah, I would agree with the Key Sandy tracking is hard. It's hard to verify, and Quick Swap does not help. So we don't get to see their menus anymore, at least not very often. Okay, he's got two GT small, which is perfect. You don't have to pick up any extra keys. Logically, we need all four, but we don't care. And anybody who opens, no one's going to open that middle door anyway, so. Yeah, Quick Swap was definitely not a friendly addition for trackers, or really for commentators either. No, Link Force did an excellent job. I completely agree with ignored Twitcher. Kept me honest, which, helped a lot, because for whatever reason, the Discord stream tends to freeze a lot. So a lot of things that I missed, and often and just tended to freeze up right as something important was being opened. So a big shout outs to Link Force, and really a lot of you in chat for letting me know when I missed something. And Walter already in the gauntlet before Roach even opens the tower. So yeah, it's not a lot of chances for Roach to catch up here. And like I said, if anybody has the execution edge, I think it's going to be Walter. But you never know. Things can happen. And a reminder, they've both already done Aga Tower. I doubt either one of them checks anything on the way. At this point, the only things that are interesting are the gold sword, but you're not gonna. I mean, with so many items in the in the basement, and with tempered and silvers, you're not looking for that sword in this situation. Never found bombos or blue can. I do believe that it was a cape was the other item on the pyramid ferry, but I missed that check, so you all can tell me if that needs to be marked there or tell Link Force if she needs to mark that. Yeah, cape was on the ferry. Okay. So Walter gets that extra little bit of luxury. Walter also has the nice luxury of half magic. That doesn't make a huge difference here, but it's really nice to have. be more of a difference if it were going to be a silverless fight. And Walter all the way up to Moldorm 2, about a half a climb ahead. Give or take a little bit. Yeah, the advantage here, yeah, we don't have to do Castle Tower, which is nice. The disadvantage is we don't get the free refill. But Walter has full health right now and full magic, so, you know, might lose a little bit in the Aga 2 fight. Won't lose any magic. But at 15 hearts, he can afford to lose a few hearts and be just fine. And he might still have a blue potion, because I believe he also dropped one into one of the fairy fountains and got a blue. And in his case, I'm pretty certain he didn't use it. Roach, I'm pretty certain did use his blue. I don't know if he replaced it. Also, red mail. I don't know if you need to say more than red mail, but you know, certainly helps in these fights. And Walter doesn't take any damage from Aga 2, which is nice. All right, Walter about to start the Ganon fight. Roach on Moldorm 2. So if Walter makes a mistake on the Ganon fight, Roach has a chance to catch up, but it's looking really good so far, getting through the hardest phases. Laments the silvers. Walter gets the torch glitch even though he doesn't need it. Just needs one more arrow. And down goes Ganon. And Walter will cross that bridge with an official race time of 2:03:06. GG's to Walter. Come from behind victory here. And we'll go ahead and watch Roach finish up, and then hopefully we can get both of these two in for an interview, because that was quite the race. But yeah, for like just to recap, Roach having gotten the boots much earlier than Walter, and when he did pod, did not open the front door and saved a key to be able to finish it, and got mirror in the big key chest. And for a while, it looked like that those two things were gonna lead Roach to a victory. It gave him a pretty big lead. But then when his go mode items were pod, big key, and Ganon's Tower, big key sitting on Turtle Rock Laser Bridge, Roach didn't go there, and understandably so. He had a whole Swamp Palace to clear and a bunch of other reasonable checks, but unfortunately, that ended up being the difference. If Roach had rushed Turtle Rock, then this outcome is different. So very interesting race. with that red mail, Roche just tanking damage. But it gets through that second phase, which is always, as I said earlier, the hardest. And once again, silver is my true weakness. Which getting an early shot off. It's like down to one more. And there goes Ganon. And Roach will cross that bridge and we'll finish up with an official race time of 2:05:41. So GG's to Roach. Very well played. Almost pulled the upset. Okay, looks like we have Walter in the setup, and we'll see. Hopefully we get both runners in. Looks like we got Walter joining us. Hopefully we get Roach as well. GG's, Walter. I don't know if you realize how much of a come from behind. I hope you watched.
Yeah, I can imagine. We also, me and Roach, talked a little bit in the race room after.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know if I've ever gone into pod this many times in non-entrance before.
Yeah, that was quite a few pod trips. Yeah, it was the big things that Roach did. They gave him a nice lead. He did the purple chest really, really early, so he got the boots early, which is always nice for many reasons. So it also gave him the Swamp Palace small early. But then also when he did one of his pod dips, didn't open that front door, and so full cleared the front with that, and was able to get the mirror a lot earlier than you did.
Yeah.
But you came from behind because he just didn't want to go into Turtle Rock and get the two big keys sitting there on the laser bridge. Which, you know, like I said, I mean, there was a lot of good reason for him to think that wasn't the answer, or hope that wasn't the answer.
Yeah, so Roach won't be joining the voice call because he had to run. But
Okay.
From
Fair
what we
enough.
talked about, he after he did like all the mirror stuff, he felt like he had to like just hope that Turtle Rock was nothing.
Mm-hmm.
So he felt like he like wasted too much time doing all the mirror stuff.
Yeah, I mean that's fair enough. And you know, you always want to do Turtle Rock and GT anyway.
Yeah. Yeah, it was interesting. There was a lot of like gotcha moments in this one.
Yeah, I'm sure you were very amused getting the Thieves Town small like right after.
Yeah, that one felt bad. I forgot I had the big key for Skullwoods, so that was just like a mistake. But there was like a couple of other ones too, like doing Death Mountain without mirror kind of was awkward because like you want to go to Hera first, but then you get like the big key to Hera in Turtle Rock, but without mirror you would have to like climb again to do it.
Yeah, and of course once again showing the power of a Hera pot, because that's a terrible place for the Hera.
Yeah. Yeah, and if you skip Hera and you just go straight into Turtle Rock, you don't get the last Turtle Rock small key in Hera instead.
Yep, and then you're orphaning the lava chest, which is worse, I think, than orphaning the Hera big.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward to get back to. But yeah, as soon as like I think towards the start of the end game, I had like 4 different items I was looking for, and I was just hoping Mirror was going to be Gomer at that point because the rest of them didn't look much.
Yeah, Mirror's like 2 big terrible keys. Not go. Mirror late and not go is awful.
Yeah,
because all those
just
checks
opens
all
up
scattered.
Everything in like in so many different locations.
Yeah, it was good you checked Pyramid Fairy, got that pod small there. Any reason why you chose to check the bumper ledge and follow that cape first?
So first time I went into Skullwoods, I should have just checked Bumper Ledge, but I didn't. And then second time I went into Skullwoods, I was like, okay, now I really should check Bumper Ledge, but I just didn't again. So when I got Cape, I was like, well, let's just go there right away first. Worst case scenario, you can use Flute to 5 to get the pot pretty quickly.
Yeah, I'm not even sure how much you had left at that point. It would have been like the Thieves' Big Chest and the Hera Big Chest. We'll never know what was in the Hera Big Chest, but...
Yeah, that was the only two things I had open at that point after checking Bumper Ledge and the last chest and Paul.
So yeah, it's a very, very interesting seed. It was definitely a fun race and kept it in. It was very close. You never checked Lumberjack, did you? So until you had the boots, because your reason, I liked what you did there when you said, okay, looks like there may be an answer in the East Dark World, and instead of doing what you would do in a normal seed when you don't want to kill Aga and running with the mitts and flippers to the East Dark World, you just said, well, I got to kill Aga anyway. I'm just going to do it now. I bet you were feeling pretty good that you had already done that when the boots finally did show up and you were able to get that Swamp Small.
Yeah, and it's also like you don't know how long it's gonna take before you get the hammer. So it's just good to have like multiple semi-quit point or like Dark World portals at that point.
Yeah, did you ever even have to save and quit Dark? Well, maybe right after you got it. But
it
wasn't a whole lot of saving and quitting with the mirror, which must have been nice.
I never got to save and quit to get to the pyramid, even though I killed Aga like fairly early.
Yeah, it was fairly early.
Yeah, it was an interesting race.
Yep.
The bow was pretty funny.
Yeah,
I felt pretty good at getting that bow, and then I felt a little bit less good when I went into Easter.
Yeah. It was the other way for Roach, but yeah, it was kind of funny when you got the tempered sword on Trinex. I said, we're gonna get the other one that we always see with the silvers on Vidi, and of course, Roach kills Vidi first, gets his silver arrows, and there you go. There's that other bow. So yeah, definitely a lot of fun moments in this one.
Yeah. Thank you for doing the commentary solo as well, and thank you to Link Force for doing the tracking.
Yeah, Link Force is the true hero here, because tracking Kisandy is hard, and definitely needed a tracker on this one, trying to solo it with a choppy stream. So big shout outs to Link Force. But yeah, so that puts you at 3-1. Who do you play next week?
Skull Kids. So it's gonna be
that's a rough one.
It's gonna be Walkex against Shireen and Mark against Fear Agent. So I get to
take the week off. Yeah, always nice to take that week off. Because didn't you did both of the races? Yeah, you did do both the races on Sunday, because I thought.
Yeah, we have it scheduled, so I think we'll all do 6 each, and then one of us will do like a 7 race.
Yep.
So we try to.
That's a good way to split it up and have everything nice and even. So, all right. Anything else you want to add before we finish this out?
Not really. It's hopefully it's gonna continue being fun in League, and it's good that we have Walkex now, because this is the Gero Walkex. So.
Well, yeah, I mean, Walkex still in both both the cross keys and the Retrons, so definitely a good add when you added those back on the schedule.
Yeah, hopefully you can get to like a third final this year.
That'd be fun. All right. Thank you, Walter, and GG's.
Yeah, GG's.
Okay. So yeah, that'll pretty much do it for us. We have a whole lot of matches coming up in the evening. At 7:10, we have 2 matches on SpeedGaming 6 right here. We have 2 Pearl, 2 Furious versus Error 216. That'll be Trinex versus Big Dunka. Also at 7:10, this will be over. Actually, I'm going to guess it'll be on one of the ALTTPR channels, but it has not been decided. We got Squirrely Coin Brewing versus Skull Kids. That'll be CS Tudor versus Shireen. Over on the main SpeedGaming channel at 8:25, we have Go versus Don't Forget to Track Us. That'll be Scoople versus Flipheel. At 10:10, right here on SpeedGaming 6, we'll have Mogliacci versus Waffle House Drive-Thru. That'll be Moogle Charm versus Demo. I actually think should be flipped the other way, Moogle Charm on Waffle House Drive-Thru. And then finally at 11:25 p.m. we have Did You Check Your Boot versus the Sexy Gannons. That'll be Tam versus Fant, and that'll be over on SpeedGaming main. Whole lot of races tomorrow, and we'll see what else lands up on the schedule the rest of the weekend. But I want to thank everybody, especially a big shout outs to Linkforce again. Keep me honest on the stream. Shout outs to our runners Walter and Roach. If you are not already following these people, please drop them a follow after a great show that was put on today by the runners. And yeah, that'll do it for me. We'll see you next time, and have a good rest of your day.